Welcome everyone, my name is Crystal and I'm here with Thierry. We are both analysts at Distimo and we are here to present our monthly webinar for you guys, following up on our most recent publication, Games, the king category of the mobile app ecosystem. So Thierry is here with me and wrote this report and will share some of the main findings with you in this webinar. But first, I would like to introduce Distimo a little bit to you, for all of you that don't know us that well yet. We are an app analytics company, so we mainly analyze mobile apps, and for that we support all of the major app stores globally, like of course the Apple App Store for iPhone and iPad, Google Play, the Amazon App Store, basically everything that you can think of. And in addition to these app stores, we also support the main ad networks such as iAd or AdMob, with our main product, App Analytics. So the service basically enables you to have an aggregated overview of your whole combined app data across all the different stores, and also the ad networks in a nice dashboard. And for you as the mobile app developers, this gives you the opportunity to track your performance in terms of revenue and downloads, and this service is offered by Distimo completely free of charge. In addition to this, we also offer a conversion tracking, which helps you to measure your marketing campaigns and their success. And of course, we also have an API for all our data that you can integrate. But our other main product is AppIQ, and this offers you really nice competitive information and general benchmarks. So mainly all of these results that you saw in the report, if you already read it, are directly extracted from AppIQ. And within AppIQ, we really provide daily download and revenue estimation that gives the opportunity to analyze mainly any app in the market, whether it's your competitor or a potential partner or even an investment opportunity. So you really get a detailed overview about the app of your interest or even the market as a whole. And the data that we present in our publications is, like I said, mainly based on this. You can also track events and price changes and really see how your revenue or your downloads develop after that, or even the ones from your competitors. And that's basically a broad intro about our services and products. And now I would like to give the word to Thierry, who will present some of this data with a focus on the game apps from this report.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you, Crystal, for the clear introduction. So this month's publication was about the game category, and the purpose of this publication was to dive in the games category and look how big the market size is for games in the mobile ecosystem. We use different kind of data for that, for example, downloads, device installs, revenues. And we took all the data that we have in AppIQ over the month of September 2013, and we looked at the global downloads and revenues, so not really specific per country, but globally. So first finding was that the majority of downloads on iOS were gained by games. So for iPhone, 33% of all downloads in September were gathered by games, while this percentage was even higher on iPad, which was 48%. Other important categories on those two devices were entertainment and lifestyle. Entertainment ranked second on both devices, while lifestyle ranked fifth on both devices. On iPhone we saw also photography and social networking in the top 5 of most important / biggest categories in terms of downloads. And on iPad we saw education and utilities in this top 5. Now looking at Google Play, We looked at the device installs for Google Play, and we saw that 37% of all device installs came from games. Second most important category was widget, and the widget category is a little bit a different category than all the other categories, because a widget, that's not a category where you can publish your app yourself in. It's always in category where Google Play has to decide whether or not it is a widget and then publish your app in this category. Moreover, it's also that apps in the widget category are also stored in another category. So it could be possible that an app is ranked in both the widget category and in the games category. That's why there's a high percentage of the widget category in this graph. So other big categories in Google Play are communication, tools, and entertainment, and only 26% of all downloads in Google Play came from other categories. So then looking at the Amazon App Store, this is data only in the US and the UK. So in the US and UK, 63% of all total downloads came from games, which is a huge amount, of course, compared to the other two stores that were mentioned. Important categories besides games were entertainment, music, utility, and social networking. So you see that a lot of categories are popular in all three stores. Of course, games. Entertainment is a category that you see in all three stores, and also social networking and utilities. They are really common for, really popular for all three stores and platforms. So now looking at the revenue share of games per country, we saw that on average globally the revenue share was around 80%, 90% for iOS and Google Play. But here you see a nice overview per country. So we see immediately that the share of games in Google Play in Korea is really huge. It's 94% of all revenue in Korea in Google Play was generated by games, which is, of course, really huge. Taiwan, that's the first flag, blue, white, and red flag here. Taiwan has combined the highest revenue share by games, so that's why it is here in the first place. And at the end, we see Germany over here. And Germany is, in this sense, least game-minded. Still, they got a huge share of revenue per games for the games. So on iOS, it's just under 60%, and for Google Play, it's just under the 80%. But comparing to the other 9 countries, it's least game-minded. We saw that German people like to spend their money on navigation apps instead of games. Still, games is the biggest category there, but the navigation category ranked second in Germany. So when we combine all this data, so the data for the downloads, the data for the revenue shares, we see an interesting thing. So in the first column we see the store, the iOS, the Apple App Store for iPhone and iPad combined. We see Google Play and we see the Amazon App Store. And then the second column shows you the app share, so the number of apps, total apps. And we see that 20% of all apps are games in the Apple App Store. 14% of all apps are games in Google Play, and 26% of all apps are games in the Amazon App Store. And when we stay here at the Apple App Store, we see that 20% of all apps are games. And these apps gathered 36% of all downloads and even 72% of all revenue. So you can imagine that the market share of games in iOS is really big. And we see the same numbers in Google Play, where the download share of games is 37% and the revenue share of games is 88%. So this clearly show you that games are really important. The market share is really big for games. It's already really big for downloads, but it's even bigger for revenue. So to sum up, consumers really like to spend their money on games, on mobile games in this case. So another interesting fact is looking at the average revenue share for games on iOS and Google Play combined, and then you see that this share of games grew over time. So a year ago, September 2012, 64% of all revenue came from games, while now, September 2013, 77% of all revenue came from games. So games were already important a year ago, but their importance, their market size have increased over time with more than 10% points over a whole year. So again, this clearly shows you that games are really important in the mobile ecosystem. So I would like to give the floor back to Crystal. She will tell you something about game genres.
Yeah, thank you, Turi. So this was a really general overview of all the percentages. I hope you're still with us. Most of these are explained in more detail in the report if you're interested in different countries and things alike. The next two slides are really drilling into the subcategories of games or the subgenres. And we look at iOS here. And you can see basically the top 5 genres and their percentage in terms of revenue, what they make when you look at all games. So we list here all the top 5 categories, and along with that also the top free and paid app of that category based on data from September, so the most current data in this report. And you can already see that the percentages are pretty much spread out. The number one is here leading with 14%, and actually on the Apple App Store, so for iOS, combined iPhone and iPad, these subcategories are a lot. So I think in total there are 18 subcategories, and the top 5 here, yeah, we see role-playing at the top, and you see, for example, games like Game of War there, where you really have different roles in that sense. But for example, you can see Clash of Clans is listed in both the strategy and the action subcategory. So this is just an example to also show you that it is actually possible for a game app to be listed in 2 categories on the Apple App Store. Yeah, like I said, all these numbers are available in the report, but just as an overview, you can see strategy is following, action, simulation, and adventure. Closing the top 5 is 9%. And if we take a look at Google Play now, you can already see that the percentage is way larger. And this can just be explained by the fact that Google Play offers less subcategories than are available in the Apple App Store. Yeah, Turi already mentioned it. There's also something like widgets, but pure game categories are just 6, I think. And leading is here the arcade and action category. So if you take a first look at this, you will also see that the names actually differ across the store. So the Apple App Store uses different terminology than Google Play. So leading here is, for example, arcade and action with a crazy 38%. So those kind of games make a lot of money. And also looking at this overview with the sample apps, you can see that the Asian markets are really dominating on Google Play. We have a lot of Korean and Japanese titles here. For example, in the arcade and action category, there's the top free app. I think that translates to Taming the Monster for Korea, a Kakao-based app. And yeah, it's a free app, but based on in-app purchases, apps like these are responsible for this high revenue share. Furthermore, we see the top performer in Japan, Puzzle and Dragons for brain and puzzle games on rank 3, and also cards and casino are relatively large with a lot of Japanese casino games. This is basically the overview from the slides that we presented in the report, and Thierry will now take over again and show you actual data and AppIQ with additional examples that haven't been covered in our report yet. So stay tuned for that.
So first we're going to have a quick look at some questions, whether or not we can answer those already. So one question is there also some kind of demo? Yeah, that's something I'm going to do now. So there will be a lot of app level data. I'm going to show AppIQ with you and give you nice examples of some apps. So that's the first question, and then the second question is?
There's an interesting question about how the different genre game breakdowns have developed over the past months. We didn't look at that development in this report, but we will likely do that in future publications, and we can get back to you guys by email for more specific questions. But I think we should use the remaining minutes to show AppIQ.
Yes.
To give you guys an example of the data that we use for this.
So when I go to AppIQ, this is the dashboard of analytics. AppIQ is a part of analytics, so when you already track your own app in analytics, you can simply subscribe for AppIQ and get download and review data for competitors. And we got two different kind of sources for AppIQ. That's some kind of trend line, so that you can track competitors over time in different countries. And we got leaderboards. So we first start with leaderboards. And this is the leaderboard aggregated over September in the US for iPhone grossing, and here you see the top 10 in Game Casino. And here you see the top 10 with all the apps in the game casino category, the download volumes and the revenues. And in this case we are particularly interested in the Bingo Blitz free bingo game. So when I click on view and go to rankings, so what I basically want to show you is that it really depends on in which category you publish your game. So Crystal told you already that there are more than 18 categories in iOS, and all these categories have different levels of sizes, of competitiveness. And this example shows you what the result is. So in this graph you see two lines. The pink line is the ranking of this Bingo Blitz app in the games board category. We're talking about grossing now. And the blue line is the rank of the same app, only in a different category, and that's the casino category. Again, it's also grossing for iPhone. So of course this app generates the same amount of money in both categories, because that's how it works, but it's only published in two different categories. And you see that it's way easier to reach a higher position in the games board category. So for example, on this day, 14th of September, you see that the Bingo Blitz game ranked number 1 in the game board category, while it was only ranked number 9 in the casino category. So the point that I want to make with this is that it's really good to consider wisely in which category you publish your game, because publishing a game in a less competitive category makes it easier for you to reach a higher rank, get more visibility, and it gets easier to the all games category or the top overall. So, show you another example. I'm going to look for bike race free by top 3 games. So again, it's US, and now I'm going to look at grossing, the grossing category, games action and games racing. And then again, you see that in this case, the pink line is the rank of this app in the category racing, and the blue line is the rank of this app in the category Game Action, and Game Action was the third most revenue generating category, as we saw in the presentation. So again, you see that this game reached a higher rank in the racing category than it was ranked in the action category. So again, it's really worth to consider wisely in which category you store your category, because it really matters a lot. If we turn around this whole idea, I'm now going to show you an example of two different apps with more or less the same rank in different categories. I think when I show you the example, it gets all clear. So when I go to Tiny Village, and I also select New Soccer. Again, it's US, and now I'm looking at, I think it was this. So, Tiny Village is published in a role-playing game, which is a really competitive category. It was the most generating category, as we saw in the presentation. And New Star Soccer is published in the sports category. You see that both games are ranked more or less on the same level in both categories. Sometimes they switch, sometimes Tiny Village is a little bit higher, sometimes New Star is higher, but overall they are more or less the same. And the ranks are the same, but the categories are different. And when I go to the revenue folder, I've selected both games in the same time period in the US, and then you see that Tiny Village, which was published in the role-playing category, generates way more revenue than the New Star Soccer game. Okay, sorry, there went something wrong, but continuing, New Star Soccer game was published in the sports game and generate 10 times less revenue than the Tiny Village app.
And both were similarly ranked around, I think it was ranked 100 in both of these different categories, but you can see what a difference in revenue distribution this makes.
Yeah. So to sum up, again, it's really wise to consider in which category you're going to publish your game. In this case, it's way easier to get a higher rank in the sports category compared to the role-playing action, role-playing game action. Then I spoke about bike race, and I want to show you another example what you can do with FAQ. So we're still here we're looking at the revenue in the US, and when I'm selecting the bike race free, you see that this game also has this bigger brother or smaller brother, which is a paid version. That's the Bike Race Pro. This app is 99 cents, and you might expect that a paid app generates more money than a free app, but it's the other way around. You see that in the US, the free version of this app generates 4 times more revenue than the paid version of this app. And of course, the free version of this app generates revenue by only by in-app purchase. So that's our products that you can buy within the app itself. So I hope this makes all sense. And I want to end this session with a nice example of an app that generates more revenue on Google Play than on the App Store. So with FAQ, you're not only able to compare apps within the same store, but you can also compare apps on different platforms. I think 4 months ago, we published a report that dived in this specific subject, that looked at examples where apps generate more money on Google Play than in the App Store, because a lot of people think that Google Play is not a great platform to monetize your app, but we think overall that there are a lot of apps that generate more money on Google Play than on the App Store. So I found this example, which is Age of Warring Empire, and when I select those both and then go to the, so it's really quick, but I went to the country and continent section, and I click on Command and Conquer. You see that the whole world is more or less pink, and in this case pink means that it generates more revenue, that this app generates more revenue in the Google Play compared to the App Store. There are only a few countries blue, for example China, and that is because in China Google does not report on paid apps and in terms of revenue in their official store, so we don't have any rankings for these, no grossing rankings for these apps, so it's really hard for us to estimate any revenue, so that's the reason why this country is blue. And the same is here for Indonesia and some Latin American countries. We do not yet support these countries for Google Play. We will do that in the future, and that's the reason why these countries are blue. But overall you clearly see that this app, Age of Warring Empire, generates a lot of revenue in Google Play and not that much on iOS. So this was a quick demo of AppIQ. Not only we don't have only revenue in AppIQ, we also have downloads, and we also have not only app leaderboards, so charts where we rank app, we also have publisher leaderboards. And the publisher leaderboards, there you can see which publisher generates the most revenue or gets the most downloads over a certain time period. And those publisher leaderboards we will let you see probably next webinar. So that's a nice cliffhanger for you guys. So just have a quick look at the questions, if there is any interesting that we can answer now already. So the question is, how do we get AppIQ? Please go to www.distimo.com/AppIQ. There's a lot of information there. There's even a free demo where you can click around, and there are also all the contact details on AppIQ. So another question. Okay, I don't think that the other questions are. There's a good remark. I think that in South Korea a lot of people have an Android device. Yet, of course, Android is really big there, and that's why you see that in Korea the revenue shares and also the downloads on Android are really big over there.
Yeah, I think in terms of the top 10 countries, South Korea was definitely in the list combined from iOS and Google Play, but definitely it's stronger on Google Play. We see that also in our data.
Then the question, how many apps do I have? I think the question is about how many apps do we track. We track basically all apps in iOS, Google Play, and the Amazon App Store.
In terms of estimates for them. So
yeah.
Basically for any ranked app globally, we provide AppIQ estimates.
Yes. So if you have any further questions, please send us an email, Thierry@distimo.com or Crystal@distimo.com, and we would love to provide you some more insights about games and mobile market as a whole.
In general, always. We will publish more publications like this in the coming months. We'll offer follow-up webinars, and you can expect live demos of our products again. and we'd love to see you here, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you.